What's up guys, the Keyblade Soulord here, and I have one question for all of you. Who doesn't love boss battles? Boss battles are one of the most fun challenges you face in almost every game. These boss battles test your skills and abilities you learn through the game to the max to see if you can manage to proceed on your quest. Be there to challenge your skills or for the pure enjoyment of beating them, it's a great experience you'd expect in many games. So for this list, I'm counting down my top 15 favorite boss battles in video games. Now before we start, here are a few ground rules. 1. These aren't the best boss battles. They are my favorite, so it expresses my personal taste on them and how I enjoy them so much. 2. I'm not putting bosses from games I never played, so I apologize for not hearing about them before. 3. No final bosses are on this list. I will make a list about them after this one. And 4. Only one per franchise, so no bosses from the same game. Now that we got that out of the way, without further ado, let the battle begin. To think I'd start the list with a boss coming from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. In the game's adventure mode, you'd come across original bosses or bosses from other Nintendo games, such as Petey Piranha, Ridley, and the number 15 boss on the list, the legendary Pokemon, Rayquaza. Oh god, when I faced Rayquaza as a boss in the adventure mode, it was amazing. Rayquaza is one of my favorite Pokemon, being a legendary dragon that resides in the ozone layer. If that's so, why the heck was it doing in the lake? That didn't make any sense. But whatever, the fight against Rayquaza still blew my mind. Rayquaza has a huge number of different attacks that can easily deliver a crap ton of damage. He charges at you with his huge body, buries itself so it can attack you from underground, causes lightning to fall at you and have your damage meter to increase like crazy, and even fires lightning balls at you. And don't get too cocky, because at half of his health he becomes much faster and his attacks much quicker and more difficult to dodge. And to add to the fun fact, aside from Taboo, Rayquaza is the only boss that has more HP than any of the other bosses, making the fight less longer and, in my opinion, more enjoyable.
Like a mouse!
Okay, you go from a giant ozone layer living serpent to a multi-headed sea creature. Yes, we're talking about the Hydra. The Hydra from God of War is a monster beyond sea monsters. Of course, what do you expect from a giant multi-headed sea serpent from Greek mythology? To think the very first boss you face in the game, heck, and the entire God of War series, would be this gigantic beast. Throughout the level, you'll encounter Hydra heads attacking you and blocking your path forward through the shipwreck, until you reach the main ship, where you encounter the main head. This is where the fight starts. First you have to fight 2 of its heads, and then bring down the platforms above them to stab them in place. Once that's done, you climb the mast where you fight the main head. Holy crap, does it look incredibly intimidating. The Hydra will attempt to bite you through the mast, while you attack when its teeth get stuck on a platform. As you damage it enough and slam its head twice on the mast, you get the final QuickTime event going on and bring the Hydra's head down for an epic stab in its mouth. That's just awesome.
Kratos wins. Fatality.
Up next is a Final Fantasy X boss. Whoa, listen! Just listen. The only Final Fantasy games I've played are 6, 10, 10-2, 12, Dissidia, and a little of 7. Picking a boss from any of them was harder than it looks, and out of all these games, my favorite normal boss battle is, for now, in Final Fantasy X. And that boss is none other than Seymour Guado. Which one, you may ask? The 4th fight, Seymour Omnis. Now, let me cut to the chase and say, Seymour Guado is one twisted bastard. Every move he makes goes exactly as he wanted. Killing his father? Check. Manipulating Yuna? Check. Killing an entire Ronso clan? Check. Grocery shopping? Check. What did I write this here? Anyway, during the game, you have to fight Seymour 4 times. For me, the best one had to be the 4th fight. because I think it's the most interesting. After Seymour unleashes his Crystal Giant Power, 4 discs spin behind him, and in each disc there are 4 symbols, which each represent a magic element. When the 4 elements center around Seymour, it determines which element Seymour will use and its strengths and weaknesses to that specific magic. For example, if Seymour uses ice, he will mostly use Blizzaga at you at full power, but he'll be incredibly weak towards fire. So in this fight, you have to predict which element Seymour will use next, and use the magic barrier and shell spells to prevent getting heavy damage and counter with the elements he's weak against. And to add a fun fact, if you have Anima and summon her, Seymour will talk to her.
You would oppose me as well? So be it.
And when you beat him, you will finally get the chance to send that SOB where he belongs. Drakengard Free, in my opinion, wasn't that bad. It's not a perfect game, but I still enjoyed playing it, even though the story was a bit confusing. The bosses of the game weren't all bad, but I have to admit, the boss fight against Juan and Gabriel was intense as heck. After beating the Intoners 5-2, Juan is the only one left to kill. But Juan isn't just going to stand there, cause she'll summon her dragon, Gabriel. This is where the big clash begins. The first half of the fight, you fight with Mikhail in an epic dragon versus dragon match. All the while, as you charge and breathe fire at it, Gabriel attacks you with charge attacks, sword beams, and even a giant energy ball that might deal you a lot of damage. If you attack him, however, while it's charging its attack, he'll get stunned, giving you a chance to deal a lot of damage to him before he wakes up again. This is an epic confrontation between 2 dragons and their riders, but things go downhill when Gabriel shoots you down. Mikhail, in a weakened state, has decided to make his final wish and bring down Gabriel, sacrificing his life. So it's only between Zero and Gabriel to end the fight. The second half, Gabriel will do similar moves, except you don't have your dragon anymore. Instead, to bring it down, you have to attack his legs that were damaged in the last fight, while avoiding its attacks and slams. And after taking it down for good, you have the total satisfaction of having beaten the dragon and his intoner. One last thing. What the hell is up with the ending of this branch? Let's talk about one game that not many people have heard about it. Blackrock Shooter, the game. I've been waiting for the game for 2 whole years since its release in Japan, and when it came out and I played it, I loved every minute of it. And the bosses were fun, whether it be the flirty Spanish-talking me, the fast yet very annoying fight with Lilio, and the cute fight with Nafe's mini rabbits. But my favorite boss battle has to be the fight against Zaha, the leader of the 7 Apostles. Unlike the others, Zaha may be the only apostle that actually shows interest and respect for Blackrock Shooter, or as she's called, Stella. And he's also considered to be a respectable elder and a great martial artist. However, when you fight against him, he will hold nothing back. He uses a giant mecha suit, and with it, he stops your way towards your final opponent. In the fight, Zaha fights with long and close-range attacks, and seeing that he's a great martial artist, he shows that he means business. He also has an ability that boosts his attack and defense, and his super attack has him fire rockets from his mecha suit, where they fall on you, no telling how many or when will they fall. This fight is a true challenge, as it shows that you must be on your toes dodging his attacks, or make sure to shoot and strike at the right time. And I have to say, that mecha suit is just awesome. What else can I say about Okami? It's breathtaking, the visuals are pretty, the characters are funny, and the story is amazing that even have some dark moments, like the death of the Queen of Seiyan City, and all was caused by the evil Nighttails. Nighttails was using you in a disguise of a priestess named Rao to retrieve the fox rods and then recovering its full strength in order to become the Lord of Ryoshima Coast. After arriving at Oni Island and reached the altar, Nighttails has presented itself as a god, mocking the celestial brush gods by fighting Amaterasu in their plane. This shows an epic fight between 2 canine beasts that pretty much make Nighttails being Amaterasu's doppelganger, with charges, sword swings, and toxic sprays? And as you try to draw to attack it, Nighttails will also draw on the screen in order to attack you. When Nighttails raises its sword to the sky, it will give you a chance to use the Thunderstorm technique and separate its 9 spirits from its body. And once you defeated 8 of the 9 spirits, all that's left of Nighttails is one simple fox. Its charges are faster, but eventually it has to stop to catch its breath, giving you a chance to attack it. When you do, you get to take out that monster and restore peace to Ryoshima Coast. You know that amazing boss fight you had with Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2? Well, how about a remastered fight in Sonic Generations? Yep, when I saw this fight in the game, I was excited for it. I mean, you're fighting Shadow one-on-one in Space Colony Arc again, and the fight is amazing. In this boss fight, Sonic and Shadow are racing on the Arc while trying to collect the orbs that appear on the track. All you have to do is collect 3 orbs before Shadow does. But that isn't as easy as it sounds, as each try to get on each other's neck to get them. If Shadow gets them first, you have to face against this Chaos Spear attack, and you'll have to be quick to dodge them or else kiss your rings goodbye. If Sonic gets the orbs, you can charge up to Shadow and crash into the meteors to slow him down, and then damage him enough till his own ring counter gets to 0. This fight is just excellent, because it shows how this is a match of equals and to see who is the better hedgehog. It just makes me want to play Sonic Adventure 2 all over again. I mean, at the start of the fight, you get to see that epic pose from the game. It's so awesome! Kirby has shown a great share of boss battles that are really fun to fight against. There's just so many of them, and to be honest, it was really hard for me to pick just one normal boss battle. Until Kirby's Return to Dreamland came in. This game just completes me, because I loved the Kirby games ever since the first game on Game Boy. So in the 5th world, you're about to fight the next boss. Huh? This is weird. The ship's master's just standing there. Oh well, at least we get to return to the ship without fighting a boss. Oh, I know, it was too good to be true. This is the Grand Doomer and the 5th world's boss. And wouldn't you know it, it's a fun challenge. The Grand Doomer is the leader of the other Doomers that guard the energy spheres. So for him to appear and guard the ship's mast, it's damn obvious that he's huge. He fights the same way as the other Doomers, but with extra abilities. He'll throw energy bullets at you, create a black hole on the ground to chew you up, charges at you with his own body, and more. As he gets weaker, he'll eventually shield himself in stone, in which you have to use your Ultra Sword ability to break it open. And once you make the final slash, you'll get the total epicness of Kirby slicing him up. Epic. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is an awesome game. The combat is fast-paced, the action is incredible, and the music is downright awe-inspiring. And the boss fights are fun and challenging as heck. So who to pick for this boss fight? The Mysterious Mistral? The Cruel Monsoon? The Scissor Freak Sundowner? No, it just has to be this one. The one man you wanted to fight ever since the beginning of the game. Jetstream Sam. Oh my god, how could you not love this fight? It's just amazing. You knew one good look at this guy, you wanted to fight him so much. And once you know it, the fight is just incredible. The fight has a total of 3 phases, and the first phase is pretty simple. Sam fights with quick and strong sword slashes as you would expect. In the second phase, Sam loses his sword, but he's far from being defenseless. Sam will attempt to grab your face and slam it to the ground, and also makes you trip hard as you try to attack him. It isn't as easy as it looks, guys, because Sam can expect your attacks if you're not too careful. The third phase is where the real fight comes in. Sam is faster and stronger than before, and he won't hold anything back. The fight isn't easy, people, it's really challenging, and all the more satisfying to defeat such an awesome boss like Jetstream freaking Sam. Oh, and you keep his awesome blade to honor him. Now that's what I call respect. The Legend of Zelda series is packed with amazing bosses, so it was really hard for me to pick at least just one boss from the series. Until I played Twilight Princess, which was a really dark game, aside from Majora's Mask. And for my number 6 spot, it couldn't be anyone else but the Usurper King, Zant himself. You knew you'd had to face this maniac sooner or later, as for he was the one who cursed Midna in the first place and was responsible of all the Twilight Zones spread across Hyrule. And the boss fight against him is just as crazy as he is, but in a really fun way. As soon as the fight starts, Zant will transport you and himself into different areas where you faced the previous bosses, meaning that you have to change your equipment constantly to match the area and the boss you previously faced. In fact, Zant actually fights like the previous bosses, but in his own fashion. That's just nuts! Then after you damage him enough in the previous areas, it's just you and him in front of Hyrule Castle. He will start using his scimitars, slashing at you at insane speeds, and even spins like a huge slashing tornado to deal a lot of damage. This fight is just insanity on a plate. You know that Zant is the craziest Legend of Zelda boss you ever faced. And after that, you get to see... Holy sh... Shadow of the Colossus is an amazing game. Like I said before, the environment is incredible, the setting is interesting, and the colossi are amazing. The weird thing is, not all of them attack you unless provoked, with the exception of a few. And I'll say this, the 13th Colossus, Phalanx, is the only one I felt terrible for fighting it. Before that, however, let me say this. Phalanx is ginormous. I mean, yes, the other colossi are gigantic, but Phalanx is by far the biggest colossus in the game, even more so than the final colossus. Tell me one good look at it and you won't be amazed by its titanic size. As soon as the fight starts, you have to shoot down the glowing sacks of air in its belly while riding on aggro, and you'll bring it down. Then you have to climb up its wings, which pretty much look like flippers, and you have to walk and grab on his humongous 170 meter length body and stab through the sigils before it hides on the ground again, repeating the process until you take it down. The thing is, Phalanx doesn't do anything to attack you. It just helplessly tries to shake you off or buries itself on the ground to defend itself. I have to say, I enjoyed this boss a lot, and at the same time, I felt terrible for taking it down. It makes me feel like a monster for taking out such a peaceful colossus. Oh my god, what have I done? Man, that last entry made me feel like a monster. And this whistling clearly explains that I'm a target to another boss that I enjoy.
How tragic.
Yep, Margaret Moonlight, rank 4th of the UAA, is also my 4th favorite boss. Now everyone might be asking this. Why Margaret Moonlight over Alice Twilight? That fight has more potential than Margaret's. That may be true, and I admit that the fight against Alice was superior. But I can't help it. I enjoy my fight against Margaret more than I enjoy Alice's. Let's talk about the fight. It's just amazing. You're fighting a goddess of death wielding 2 scythe guns that was probably inspiration for Ruby's Crescent Rose on the roof of a supermarket under the moonlight. As soon as the fight starts, Margaret will attempt to snipe you until you approach her and she'll strike at you. She's as deadly up close as she is far away. She'll slice you up with her twin scythes when you approach her, or she can shoot you away with her guns when you're too far. Another thing to note, her battle music, Philistine, is just amazing. Not only it adds to the environment of the fight, but also explains what Margaret will do and how Travis has become. And when I beat her, I made sure I memorized the song. Thank you, Margaret, for the beautiful music and the amazing fight. Now the top 3 bosses were really hard for me to choose, because I enjoyed the fights a lot. Seriously, I had to change the list 3 times, so I had to replay the bosses again in order to make my final decision. So for my 3rd entry, we have the Whirlwind Lancer and 3rd member of Organization 13, Zeldan. My god, Zeldan is just an awesome organization member. In fact, I think there's no mistake that he's one of the best members, aside from Xemnas, Xigbar, and Saix, who have been great assets to the organization. I mean, he has planned to make the beast into a nobody by emotionally piercing his heart using the Rose and Bell against him. But the fight against him? Oh boy. He attacks with 6 lances! You can't even top that! Seriously, there's a reason why the Green Scorpion has put this guy on his spear wielder's list. Zeldan attacks with 6 lances, mostly using wind manipulation. He can jump and strike downwards like a dragoon, thrust his lances in multiple directions, surround you with them, shield himself with them in his wind, and even turns them into a huge construct and blasts you with gales that could possibly deforest the whole Black Forest. Sure, you can just spam learn every time he attacks and use the jump command to finish the fight quickly, but like Zeldan says,
where's the fun in this?
And his data battle is 50 times more challenging than this. Overall, this fight screams epic for me. It's challenging, it's quick, and it will blow you away if you're not careful. Metroid has become one of my favorite Nintendo franchises ever. I enjoyed almost every Metroid game I've played. Yes, even Metroid Other M I found it somewhat enjoyable. And finding a boss from the series wasn't easy, since there are huge monstrous boss battles that could have easily made it to this list. Until I played Metroid Prime. After gathering the artifacts, you're about to find a way to save the world, and everything was going fine. Until Meta Ridley has destroyed them! When I saw this happen, I literally said, "Now you've done it, Ridley! I'm gonna fry your ass!" As soon as the fight starts, Ridley flies around the area, attempting to blast you away with lasers and bombs, and even crashing down on you. Shoot him enough times and Ridley will come down crashing to the area and his wings immobilized. But does that make the fight easier? No. It actually makes the fight even more challenging. He will attempt to slash you to pieces, hit you away with his huge tail, crush you with his huge weight, fires laser beams at you, and even charges you from one side of the area to the other. The only way to beat him is to shoot him in his mouth and then expose his weak spot in his armor, in which you have to shoot it quickly. This battle can last long, but at no point is it boring. Besides, where's the fun in beating a boss super quickly? I may have faced many Ridley battles over the games I've played, but none has ever topped this one, because this fight was made personal in many ways. Your progress in the game, and the murder of Samus's parents. This has become one of the best boss battles in the Metroid series, and video games in general. But you know what? There's still one more boss fight that I enjoy more than this one. And before I show who it is, let's make a recap. Number 15, Rayquaza. Number 14, the Hydra. Number 13, Seymour Omnis. Number 12, Juan and Gabriel. Number 11, Zaha. Number 10, Nighttails. Number 9, Shadow. Number 8, Grand Doomer. Number 7, Jetstream Sam. Number 6, Zant. Number 5, Phalanx. Number 4, Margaret Moonlight. Number 3, Zeldan. And number 2, Meta Ridley. Xenoblade Chronicles is one of the best JRPG games out there. As soon as I played it, I enjoyed every second of it. And let's not forget about its great cast of characters. One of these characters is Dixon, who found Shulk, the game's main character, the only survivor of an expedition to find the legendary weapon, the Monado. Ever since, Shulk looked up to Dixon as a father figure, and he has helped the party a lot, even selling the anti-Machon weapons. And then the party, along with Dixon, puts a stop to Eggle, and Shulk decided to make a truce for both worlds to live together. Until...
No! Dixon?
You shouldn't have done that, little brat.
God damn it, Dixon! Yes, Dixon has betrayed Shulk and the party and revealed that he was working for Zenza, the game's main antagonist, from the beginning. And with Lorifia has transformed the entire high-end tier race into Telefia. Shulk luckily survived the shot, but he doesn't wield the Monado anymore since Zenza took it, so he was given a replica instead. After the party goes through the Bionis interior and defeated Lorifia, who had an annoying boss battle, you revisit Prison Island once again. And at the end... oh my god, we're going to fight Dixon, aren't we? Yes, that's right. Dixon will transform into a hulking giant with a giant sword-shaped weapon. The fight has two phases. In the first phase, you fight him until he has half his health down, triggering the next cutscene. Dixon explains that he follows Zanza till the end no matter what he says, and starts to pierce the morale of Shulk and Fiora. But thanks to their friends and an awesome display and some great morale boosting, they get back up and return to battle. This is when the real fight starts. Dixon most of the time buffs himself with Haste and Crazed, which is similar to Berserk, and will attack with combo slashes, turn his sword into a cannon to blast them away, seal your arts, and even makes a huge impact on the ground that can daze you if you're too close to him. This can be a long battle if you're not properly prepared, and when you beat him, Shulk will deal a huge blow to his chest, wounding him severely. And then, Dixon admits defeat and tells them to go. After that, Dixon lights his cigar one more time and admits he has lost. At his last breath, he was really proud of Shulk's progress. He may have followed Zanza from the beginning, but he has raced Shulk ever since he was a kid. And after he died, Shulk started to cry. Shulk lost a man who cared for him like a father. This fight was emotional and incredible, and not only is it one of my favorite bosses from Xenoblade Chronicles, but it is my favorite normal boss battle in video game history. This is the Keyblade Soul Lord, and rest in peace, Dixon. Rest in peace.